Known as the City of Love, who wouldn't want to visit Paris? Seeing the Eiffel Tower, taking romantic photos with your significant other, and enjoying fancy dining are all activities that make it onto many people's wish lists. However, did you know that this beautiful city hides a number of dark sides? Like other major cities, Paris has a significant number of homeless people. The number of homeless individuals in Paris is staggering, reaching 150,000, with the most alarming increase being 3,000 people per year. As you walk through the alleys of this city, you'll encounter numerous makeshift camps and people sleeping on the streets. The plight of the homeless in Paris is terrifying because there is no safe haven for those who fall on hard times. Take Tony, for example, who has been homeless since he was 23 years old. This young man, who prefers to remain anonymous, reveals that his life is full of dilemmas. If he stays on the streets, he lacks food, a warm place to sleep, and can only beg. However, if he stays in a shelter, his fate isn't much better. According to Tony, in the shelters, he could get beaten up just for some loose change by other homeless individuals because the shelters are often filled with addicts and drunks. Essentially, his life is a lose-lose situation. Due to this homelessness crisis, many people criticize the French government for not taking the issue seriously. This lack of seriousness is evident because the government has failed to provide adequate emergency camps and sufficient education. Yet, in France, there are various facilities that could be repurposed, such as abandoned hospitals or military bases, to become emergency shelters. This transformation of public facilities for the homeless is indeed advocated by many, especially as the number of refugees or asylum seekers in France continues to rise year after year. With the large number of homeless people in Paris, begging has become a widespread profession. At every corner of the city, you can see people sitting and begging, even though they appear physically fit. The high number of beggars in Paris is not surprising, given that the city is a major tourist destination where wealthy individuals often pass by. In addition to begging, another popular profession among locals is becoming a scammer. The extent of scamming in Paris is evident from the variety of schemes employed. For example, there's the golden ring scam, where a local appears to pick up a gold ring in front of a tourist and then says, "Is this yours? You dropped it?" If the tourist stops, the local will put the ring on them and then demand 15 euros, as if the ring had been purchased. Another common scam is the Paris bracelet trick. The scammer will approach tourists, tie a handmade bracelet on their wrist, claiming it's free, and later demand payment. Since the bracelet can't be removed without damaging it, the tourist has no choice but to pay. In Paris, there's also an unwritten rule: don't be too kind to those who seem lost. In busy tourist areas, someone might ask for help buying a ticket or for guidance out of a station. Once outside, they will meet with their accomplices. Typically, they will extort money or, in the worst cases, rob the person. There are many types of scams carried out in Paris's tourist hotspots. As a tourist destination, scams often involve fake tickets, ranging from train and bus tickets to museum entrance tickets. When talking about museums for tourists, we can't forget about the Mona Lisa. Who wouldn't want to see this iconic painting in person? However, if it's not absolutely essential for you to see the Mona Lisa, it might be best to avoid it. Testimonials from those who have been there describe the experience as extremely unpleasant due to the massive crowds. If you're not adept at pushing through crowds, your view might end up being just armpits and elbows. The only way to see the Mona Lisa up close and personal without the crowd is to rent out the museum for a private viewing, which is, of course, an option only for the ultra-wealthy. If you live in a big city, the phenomenon of pickpocketing is certainly not unfamiliar. This is also a common occurrence in Paris, especially in crowded train stations. One video captured a pickpocketing incident involving a teenager from Korea who was vacationing in Paris. The perpetrator was incredibly skilled, clearly experienced in their craft. Pickpocketing in Paris is indeed a cause for concern. As an international tourist destination, the city attracts many pickpockets who are always on the lookout for wallets, phones, and even bags from unsuspecting tourists. Many locals recommend not wearing backpacks, but instead carrying your bag in front of you to avoid falling victim to pickpockets. When we think of Paris, the iconic Eiffel Tower immediately comes to mind. This world-renowned landmark is a favorite backdrop for social media posts, symbolizing romance and elegance. However, there's a dark side to this famous structure that many might find shocking. It has become a notorious site for suicides. Since 1989, over 300 people have ended their lives by jumping from the tower. Surprisingly, these individuals are not just locals. Many are tourists who travel to Paris specifically to end their lives. It's perplexing to think that someone would spend considerable money to come to such a beautiful city only to meet a tragic end. Despite its reputation as a top tourist destination, Paris also struggles with cleanliness issues. Visitors often encounter piles of uncollected trash on its streets, which starkly contrasts the city's image of beauty and sophistication. Adding to the problem, animal waste is common, and it's not unusual for people to relieve themselves in public spaces, contributing to a pervasive odor. The situation has become so dire that the city has admitted defeat in its battle against rats, which now live alongside the human population. This problem was exacerbated by a sanitation worker strike in early 2023, leading to even more trash accumulation and a surge in the rat population. Despite these challenges, Paris remains a city of great allure and charm. However, it's essential to be aware of these realities to have a well-rounded understanding of this iconic destination. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.